Cape Breton is known for its rugged beauty, dramatic coastal views, and wildlife. Earlier this week, it also showed its sense of community when an estimated 16 pilot whales beached on a shore. Author and former journalist Linden MacIntyre was there to witness the scene, and Linden joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
So take us back to Tuesday, and what happened, Linden?
Well, it was a sunny, windy morning. The tide was way out. The night before, some people who lived on the shore had witnessed this bizarre scene, which is not uncommon here, in a little bay where a pod of pilot whales had followed a school of food fish, mackerel probably, into the bay and used their normal technique for corralling the fish and packing them into a small group and eating them, and obviously weren't paying attention to the tide, so when the tide pulled out, they were trapped in behind some sandbars and some rocks. The wind came up, and they were basically the animals were basically driven up onto the shore, where they were noticed early Tuesday morning by some local residents who put out a call for some rescue effort.
And really, residents jumping into action the way they did, it's just unbelievable how the community came together and did whatever it had to do.
First of all, there's a very powerful connection to the sea here, and secondly, a very powerful connection to what lives in the sea, and particularly these large black mammals that are pilot whales. They're huge, and they show up every summer around this time, pursuing schools of food fish that pass through. People take visitors out on boats to watch them. They're kind of a magical creature. Just the way that they swim like aquatic dancers. It's almost a hypnotizing experience to watch them. So there's a very strong affection and connection with these people, with these animals, and when they get in trouble, there is a kind of an instinctive mobilization happens, which is what happened Tuesday.
And we're looking at pictures right now. We saw people actually pouring buckets of water, Linden, on the whales, just trying to keep them propped up and keep them wet and keep their blowholes uncovered. But there have been different numbers as to how many whales were there in the first place and how many the community was able to save. Can you clear that up?
Well, there was 16 counted initially. There were 16 when I got there. There had been people working on this for a couple of hours, and I got involved, and it became apparent to me fairly quickly that this huge animal that I was trying to keep propped upright was already dead. So we moved on to animals that were obviously breathing through their blowholes and showed some action with their tails, and we worked on the 16. Excuse me. We eventually got 11 of them out, but they're a very communal animal, and they kept trying to come back in to join the ones that were still trapped. And at the end of the day, we got 11 out. 3 swam back and died with the other 5. So off the 16, 8, I believe the last count I've heard was that 8 had come back in and died. The other 8 have gone off someplace else. They're very strange. We had to. It was only when we seemed to identify and rescue the leader of the pod that the rest of the crowd decided, okay, we can go now, because we literally floated this big guy out. He was huge. He was about 3.5 meters long, and God knows how much he weighed. We floated him out to a point where he could keep himself upright, and I suddenly noticed there were 9 others packing in around us, literally right at our heels. And when we get out to our necks in the water, we just sort of give this guy a little bit of a push, and he headed seaward, and the rest followed him. And it was really quite an experience to see these dorsals slowly disappearing into the distance, and it was a great sense of relief.
What an amazing community effort, Linden, and thanks for chatting with us. Thank you so much. It's great to chat with you.
Yes, thank you again.